Small businesses make a significant contribution to the Australian economy, counting for almost half of industry employment and contributing over a third of industry value in 2009 and 2010. But how does a small idea eventuate into a successful business? Hi, I'm Kathy Davis. Welcome to Good Business. In today's program, we look at startup business and the steps you can take to owning and operating a successful small business. I'm joined on the panel today by Brian Brown, a business expert from Better Business Now, Camilla Jansen, Managing Editor of Business News Publications, and Philip Di Bella, the manager and founder of Di Bella Coffee, to discuss the most important facets of starting a business and how to get it right. Apart from my studio guests, we go on location to talk to Heather Gay, the head administrator of Yatala Pies. According to a 2011 report by the Department of Innovation, Industry, Science and Research, there were a staggering 2,051,085 businesses in Australia as of June 2009, with small business making up 96% of the total. Brian Brown, with so much competition in business, how can someone establish themselves successfully?
Excellent question, Kathy, and I can answer it in two words. Oh. Be different, but I'll elaborate a bit on that too. Need to develop what I call a USP, a unique selling proposition or point. What makes you different from someone else? What makes you stand out as the bright, juicy apple amongst all the oranges? If we look at someone like Nike that comes to mind, and it's not about price. If we look at someone like Nike, you can go and buy a pair of Nike shoes for $400. You can buy that same sort of shoe in a Dunlop Volley for $40. And a $360 difference is not in the quality, because they're all made in China anyway. It's in the marketing. It's about being different. So in two words, be different.
That was more than two words,
it
right?
Was.
Camilla Jansen, what are some of the problems people face when trying to build their idea?
I think one of the problems would be for them to be found on a digital platform. They need to have some kind of a presence, either with a Facebook page that wouldn't cost much to set up, LinkedIn presence, or if they can at least get a website up and running. The other constraint, I think, of course, is to control cost and not overspend. And as much as everyone wants to be like Nike, when you're starting up, you might have to think a little bit smaller in that respect.
And Philip Di Bella, I must apologise, I called you manager before, but of course you're the managing director and founder and an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, what obstacles did you find to be the most difficult when you were building your business?
Yeah, look, the first obstacle is access to information. Thank God we've come a long way in the last 11 years, but when I started in 2002, accessing information was probably the hardest. I mean, you know, as a young startup, you go out there and say, how am I going to start my own business? And, you know, the first thing people do is, well, they stop and they go, I'm going to start, and then they go, what do I do now? You know, when you've got to register your business, you've got to register for tax, you've got to make sure that sort of stuff happens. So the biggest obstacle was initially the access to info. But Brian hit on the head. The second obstacle is how am I going to stand out? I mean, my industry, there's 1,500 players, and my motto is you've got to be first or you've got to be different. And I certainly wasn't going to be the first person that was going to start selling coffee. So the second obstacle was identifying exactly how I was going to be different.
So you found your niche, you built your market proposition and made yourself different. What were some of the key aspects of the research that you did in order to start your business and make it successful? Yeah,
very simple model. What I did, the first thing I did was research the companies that were doing well, and most importantly, I researched the companies that weren't doing well. And it's a model that I follow to today. You know, a lot of people spend a lot of money researching their customers. We should already know why people choose you. I spend most of my time researching people that don't choose us. So when I was starting in 2002, that's what I did. I looked at the companies that had great product and saw where they fell down, and it was poor branding. And I looked at companies that had great branding, and had a look at where they fell down, and it was poor product. So I was first to market, I would say, and I'll say it quite proudly, in Australia, to put an amazing brand together, backed by great quality. And then I followed the McDonald's syndrome of consistency. You know, people don't go to McDonald's because they've got exceptional product. They go there because they know what they're going to get when they walk in the door. And so we put a model together that I talk about today, have an amazing brand and perception, because people buy on perception, back it by amazing quality, and then deliver it consistently.
Thank you very much to all our panel members for your point of view. After the break, I'll talk with Philip DeBella again about his experiences with opening DeBella Coffee, then head out on location with Heather Gay of Yatala Pies and learn their secrets to success. Welcome back to Good Business. Small businesses are multifaceted workplaces where even the most adept multitasker can be overwhelmed with the varied responsibilities that are associated with the often overlooked position, that being administration. Yatala Pies is a thriving and long-established small business, so we went on location to speak with Heather Gay, Head of Administration, to discuss their business model and try to find the secret ingredient in their recipe for success.
Hi, I'm Heather Gay. I've been at Yatala Pies for over 20 years and I'm currently the administrator, so I keep an eye on everything that everyone's doing. Yatala Pies has been around for a long time. It's been seen the horse and buggies come up from Sydney, and in actual fact that's how it was probably established, is that someone broke down on the side of the Albert River and to fix their buggy they made pies. So it's been around for a long time. It's seen the railway open and the railway close. It's seen an old Pacific Highway and a new Pacific Highway. So it's, yeah, history-wise, it's seen generations of people come through. You've got people that are picnicking up at Mount Tamborine, but probably our biggest trade is our surf lifesavers on the Sunday afternoon. I think a successful business doesn't necessarily have to change. We've got good recipes, and I think if we continue to stick to what we believe in, which is making a high quality product that's unique in the market, that isn't at every corner store, and that product's made with care and with fresh quality ingredients, I don't think there's a lot you need to change. With technology too, your things like your cash registers, much more advanced. We can get much more detailed reports these days about what actually goes through each hour, so we can know, we can plan our production a lot better based on what our sales are, and check your sales and continue to keep your production levels at about the same level as sales. So one of the biggest things with starting up a business is do your homework, reassess yourself regularly, and make sure your goals are quite clear, not just on a weekly, daily basis, but on a monthly basis, a 2-monthly basis. And the things that you forget about, like reassessing yourself because you're so busy making the product or so busy trying to hire a staff member, you can't forget about. If you haven't got the time to do them, you need someone else to take over some of the other jobs. So don't try to run your own shit all the time. Get someone to give you a hand when you need it. So you've got the time to do the things that will ensure your longevity. Some of our biggest recipes, favourites, have been so successful that once you put them on the menu, the outcry at taking them off is unbelievable. A lot of people that know Yatala Pies will know the beef, bacon and cheese. The beef, bacon and cheese is our second highest seller. We introduced that in the early 90s and couldn't get it off. The day it went on, it wouldn't come off. So the other one's the caramel tart, and we're really well known for our caramel tart. It's probably our third highest seller, and we would not change the recipe. You get bakers that say, oh, why don't we change it? And why change something that's not broken? With our customers and what our customers want. They've been coming here for generations, and what they want is to feel like they're coming to the same place. Like, it's a very busy world out there. One minute you're looking over an empty vacant block of land and next minute you're looking at a high rise. So, You know, these are people that did sit, our customers are people that did sit for 2 hours on the old Pacific Highway and are now driving a 4-lane highway that scares the bejesus out of most of them. So when they call into Yatala Pies, it's like they're coming home. It's like they can remember their childhood, they can remember the roads. So keeping up with the market, I must say, has never been one of our goals. What our goal is to give people that feeling of belonging and the feeling that they're in the same place they were 20 years ago.
That was Heather Gay from Yatala Pies sharing her thoughts on administration of a small business. Philip DiBella is a multi-award-winning entrepreneur who started out with a simple idea and now runs one of the most respected coffee labels Australia-wide. Philip DiBella, how did this all begin?
Yeah, well, in short, the love affair with coffee began as being a son of migrants. My father's a coffee freak, and at the age of 11 I could reach the stove, so it was my duty to start putting on the coffee for him. But so the love affair with coffee began from an early age. You know, a beverage that united people, visitors had come over, and within 10 minutes the stove, you know, was bubbling away with fresh brewed coffee. So that's where I got my my taste of coffee. But the love affair with entrepreneurship came as also being a son of migrants, and that's seeing my dad, you know, leaving Italy, migrating to Australia and working on weekends to make a better income. So we didn't get to spend, we had a great childhood, but we didn't get to spend a lot of the, you know, the Sundays together because he had to work. So I learnt then, and it was at that point I wanted to be in control of my own destiny. So the entrepreneurship in me, you know, that's where it began, was that I just wanted to control what I was going to do in the future.
How important was it for you to have a business plan when setting up your own business?
Yeah, look, I did the cardinal thing, and you know, everyone says, oh, you know, do a business plan, so I did, and then never looked at it again. So 11 years on, I can tell you that a business plan's a waste of time. I like a strategic plan. I'm right into strategy plan, and the strategy plan is very simple. You know, it starts with what your brand's going to be all about, based on your vision. So, you know, people say, well, what do we do? And I say, well, I write strategy documents for startups now and give them a hand. And first thing I do is write it based on vision, followed by brand, and then the objectives. And that's how simple it is, you know. So vision, brand, objectives, and then go on to do your action items, and to keep it very, very simple to follow.
Do you revisit it and change it and adapt it as time goes on? Yeah,
we run a formal strategic plan now, and you know, we've got two documents in our company. One's a budget, one's a strategic plan, and so the strategy document runs the business. It enables me as the managing director to keep my, you know, finger on the pulse, and it also means that everyone in the company is engaged with it, and we do it yearly. So we plan formally for 3 years at a time, but we revisit it yearly to make any adjustments. But it's a working document. It's worked on every day.
A living document. In your opinion, what determines whether you're capable of successfully starting up your own business?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think the problem, you know, and I'll answer it in this way, is that some people stand in the mirror and think they're too capable to run their own business, and then some people don't think they're capable enough. I think the, you know, one of my favourite sayings is, you know, don't be limited. You know, limitations are self-imposed, so don't impose limitations on yourself. You know, if you really believe that you've got a great idea or concept and you can be different in the marketplace, then give it a go. I mean, my risk management plan is all about what's the worst possible thing that could happen. And when I started in 2002, the worst thing that could have happened was to lose $5,000.
Oh, times have changed. Who inspired you in the early days when you were starting up your business? Did you have someone you looked up to?
Oh, look, I had many people, you know, being around migrants a lot. You know, my parents came over here as working class. I looked at a lot of the migrants that actually went on and started their own business. You know, you think about it, you know, migrants came here not knowing the language, most of them, and then you had these migrants that went on, not only did they learn the language, they went on to run empires. So I loved studying the whole migrant thing, you know, and their success and what they did, whether it was from mechanic shops to fruit shops, or you know, even accounting firms, you know, where they went and learnt the language, went on to get degrees and opened accounting firms. So I studied a lot of migrants and how they went about it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Philip. Next up, the Managing Editor for Business News Publications, Camilla Jansen, gives us her insight into the business world with knowledge about today's marketplace and how important it is to keep focused when building a business. Welcome back to Good Business. Business news publications have been producing creative and engaging publications for many years now, building on brand awareness, educating and giving businesses a voice, and communicating a clear but direct message to target markets. Camilla Jansen from Business News Publications joins me now to talk about some of the key observations of the business she works in and the startups she's observed. Camilla, what are some of the steps a startup business must take before trying to even open the doors?
I think we touched on research, but it's really important that you seek out as much information as you possibly can. And if you're opening up a retail store, the cost of the cost of the rent there's going to be for that business to any other contracts that you're signing up, just to make sure that you do the due diligence and just seek expert advice wherever you can. I guess with the magazines, we like to be able to provide and educate our readers, but there are also so many other people, family maybe, or business people that you can learn from.
Did you have a mentor to help you when you started the business?
I had many mentors, and I just like to surround myself with a lot of mentors. They're experts in different fields, and I constantly go back to them and seek guidance on how to develop the next stage in my business.
Do you find that there's enough help for startup businesses?
I think it is, but it's not that easy to find, as Philip was saying. I think you really have to dig around, and it's kind of a discovery. And
What are some of the objectives that startup businesses should follow to be seen as credible? Using your own experience.
Well, I guess when I started with very little capital as well, but I think you have to be very serious about what you're setting out to do. That what you're promising, you need to deliver, and I guess that would be my thoughts.
What role do you see your publications and similar products playing in assisting other people when they're starting their business?
I think, again, to educate other businesses and also to inspire them by telling stories about the successful local business stories that we have here in Queensland.
You've been through the startup phase. What do you think are the vitally important elements of business practice that keeps a business healthy?
Again, I go back to budget forecast. Don't think or just try to make a qualified guess and not overspending, because I think it's very easy for you to gain costs, especially if you're hiring staff or buying equipment or paying rent.
So the economic side of the business means that you have to keep a constant eye on the business projections.
Yes, and the cash flow.
Where does the majority of your money come from? Does it come from subscriptions or advertising?
Advertising. And I guess with media, it's such a changing world. It's really been... you really have to be on your toes because it's changing day to day with the digital world coming in, and you just have to move and develop new platforms to be able to stay in that marketplace.
And hence you have a website?
Yeah, we have a website, we have a digital publication, and we're just trying to work with many different platforms, from events to publications to email marketing. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Camilla. Finally, we take a look at some tips from our experts on today's show for existing small businesses and people thinking of starting them. great tips there from our guests Philip Di Bella and Camilla Jansen. Brian, can I get your final words regarding starting up a new business?
Sure. And look, just listen to Camilla and Philip there, and look, I take my hat off to you guys and congratulations on your successes. What I was hearing was mentors. Surround yourself by people who know more than you do, and go out and actively seek those people. I was not amused, but with Philip saying he didn't do a business plan. I don't recommend business plans. Great for banks, but that's probably where it ends. Strategic plan is the way to go. So again, strategic planning, mentors, and again, being different.
Thanks very much, Brian. And Camilla, final word from you.
I think just go out and do it, and just be confident in yourself, and don't give up.
And finally, Philip, what overall advice would you give?
Yeah, look, I'd reiterate what I said before. It starts with a vision. You've got to have a strong brand, deliver it with a lot of passion, and get really geared up with a good level of emotional intelligence. But two of the big tips that I always like to leave people with is, firstly, the common denominator of success is about forming a habit of doing what other people are not prepared to do. So go out and do what other people are not prepared to do in your industry, because forming that habit's going to breed success. And the common denominator of failure is poor communication.
In your case, what is it that you do that other people are not prepared to do?
Yeah, look, when I started my business, I had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go and serve coffees at the farmers markets. I did that Saturdays, and then I got a gig on a Sunday and backed it up and worked 7 days a week. These days I talk to people that are starting up a business, and they say, oh no, I won't work Saturday and Sunday, it's sacrilegious, it's only Monday to Friday. Well, if you're starting up your own business, you've got to be prepared to do what other people are not prepared to do. You know, and as I said on the failure of communication, well, what better way to communicate with people than to get out there with your customers and prospective clients and put coffee in their hands and get them to talk about your product, and that's what we did.
Do you agree with that, Camilla? That
Absolutely.
you have to do what other people aren't prepared to do and go that extra yard?
That's right, and I think especially when you're starting up, you just have to work hard.
What about you, Brian?
Definitely. Definition of success, do what others won't do.
Well, that was another informative episode of Good Business, and a big thank you to our guests Brian Brown from Better Business Now, Philip Di Bella from Di Bella Coffee, and Camilla Jansen from Business News Publications. Coming up next week on Good Business, we're focusing on franchising and its importance in the business world. I'm Kathy Davis. Thank you for watching Good Business.